I'm gonna skip some general overview of each one.
Perfect.
Okay. So we're gonna do some EMDR work today. And before we jump into the work, we're just gonna do a couple of safety things. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is let your mind wander a little bit. And I want you to think about a place that represents total safety for you. A place you could imagine just relaxing. And it can be a real place that you visited. It can be a place that you make up in your mind. We don't want it to be associated with any people. So we don't want to use things like my grandma's house growing up. This is just your space that belongs only to you, where you can feel totally safe and relaxed. Take a moment. And when you find what that place might look like for you, I want you to tell me about it.
I think it's my bed.
Okay.
I've got 2 pillows. My head squishes right in the middle, and I've got 2 really heavy blankets on.
Lovely.
Warm, cozy, quiet.
So as you're laying in your bed, are there any particular sounds that you might hear? Is it totally quiet? Is it like the sound of the air conditioning or?
I get the heat,
Mhm.
so the furnace kicks on,
Sure,
then blows, and then I know I'm really toasty and warm.
great. And is there a smell, you know, how everyone's house has their like smell that's like, yes, this is my home.
Yes.
This is the scent of my home.
Yes.
So as
It's,
you're laying in your bed, are you imagining?
yes, with just a little tinge of laundry detergent for
Yeah,
my
fresh
blanket.
sheet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you imagine yourself to be laying in your bed, hearing that heat kick on, feeling your blankets on you, toasty warm, that smell of laundry detergent, and a little bit of your house mixed in, that would be a happy place for you.
Yes.
Perfect. So we might visit that if things get to be intense, and at the end of the session, we'll pay a visit to resting in your bed,
Okay.
in your mind, just as a way, if it gets intense, that's a way to reset and kind of bring your system back down a little bit. If things feel a little too much, you just let me know. We'll go chill in your safe space.
Okay.
And then at the end of an EMDR session, we like to spend a little bit of time in your safe space just to reset you before you go interact with the world. Because we don't want to send you home all activated and anxious. That's not a great feeling,
Right.
right? And the big thing about EMDR is we don't do homework.
Okay.
So what we work on here. And we're gonna put everything we work on away in those filing cabinets of your memory. And you don't work on it at home without me. We
Okay.
do this together. Okay, so the other thing we need to think about is a container to put all of the things that we're working on.
Mhm.
And again, your mind can wander a little bit, figure out what you feel like that container might look like for you.
Okay.
For some people, it's filing cabinet. For some people, it's a vault or like a gun safe. For some people, it's a mason. I have someone who does a mason jar that just magically fits all of their stuff in it.
All right.
So
That's
just
what I was
imagine,
picturing.
yeah, imagine a container that to you feels really strong, that we could use to store all of your thoughts and memories and feelings for when you leave. That way they stay in the container and you're not trying to think about them or work on them at home. Okay,
Mhm.
so is that a mason jar for you?
It's a
Sounds
mason
like-
jar,
Perfect.
airtight, you can't hit the bubble.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. So what would you like to focus on? What's something that's been on your mind a lot lately that you'd like for us to address?
I've had some struggles in meetings of not feeling like I can speak up or that I'm not worthy, just feeling like nobody wants to hear what I have to say.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna hand you our buzzers. We're not gonna use them just yet, but I want to get you all set. So most important thing, squish in your chair, get all comfy cozy. Make sure you're in a comfortable spot. We don't want you to be distracted by unpleasant body sensation. So if you're comfy in your chair, we got to squish and make you comfy. Okay. So as you think about the idea of being on a meeting and not feeling like you can speak up, what's the worst part of that as you think about it now?
The worst part is that if I do speak up, everybody will think that I'm stupid or that I don't have anything to contribute. And then, of course, that leads to loss of job. And then it just kind of catastrophizes even more that like, then I'll lose my partner because
Mhm.
I don't have anything to contribute.
Okay. So that fear of everyone's gonna think that I don't know what I'm talking about and then I'm gonna lose everything. Okay. So when you think about that, where do you experience it in your body? Where do you feel that anxiety about losing everything?
In my chest, it really like tightens in my stomach. It kind of just churns almost.
Sure. I'm wondering if there's anything familiar about that feeling. Can you go back in your memory and see if you can remember another time when you felt that way, even if it has nothing to do with being on a meeting?
Mhm. I think it's in elementary school.
Can you remember what happened?
Yeah. I remember being really lost in math and really just not knowing what the teacher had said. And a lot of people thought I was a smart kid.
Mhm.
So when I didn't know what I was talking about, I felt like everybody was just pinpointing me.
Mm.
That I was like, how was I so lost on something so easy?
Mm. So like there was something wrong with you.
Mhm.
Okay. As you remember what happened what grade did you say you were in?
I think it was like third, fourth.
Like third grade?
Yeah.
That was what I was picturing in my head, just little third grade Christine.
Yeah.
So thinking about that experience in the third grade. So if you were to this EMDR has lots of weird rating scales, so you just go with me. The numbers are gonna feel random. So if you were thinking about how disturbing that memory is for you, so if you were to sit and think about it from 0 to 10, 0 is like, no big deal. That was kind of a sad thing. 10 is like, I can barely think about it. It's so hard for me to visit that experience. Where would you put that in terms of how disturbing it is for you to sit and remember what happened?
I think a 3 to a 4.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So we're gonna use that as our measuring stick
Okay.
to see if we're headed in a good direction. Okay. So when you think about this feeling of something wrong with me, I'm sitting in class, I don't understand something that I should understand, what message do you get about yourself as you think about that?
I'm dumb.
Mm.
I'm different.
And sounds like different's not a good thing in this case.
No.
Okay.
Different is like not unique, but rather like ostracized. Like I feel if this is the strangest, like
Mhm.
I didn't belong there.
Yeah. So if you are just gonna be unfiltered, unabashedly honest about how it makes you feel about yourself, knowing that saying it out loud doesn't make it true. What is that message? I am what? First thought, best thought.
I am unworthy.
Okay. Unworthy. So I
Yeah.
feel like that fits that
Yeah.
one, right? We were to like write it up in the newspaper and we were to make a heading for it, it would be I am unworthy. Okay. And EMDRs use really weird scales. So if we were to rate how true that feels as you think about it now, I am unworthy from 1 to 7. I know it's weird. 1 is like, oh no, I'm very sure that that's not true at all. 7 is like, it feels pretty true almost all the time. Where would you put it?
Right in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the middle for you is like 4.5 or like.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So that
Yeah.
feels true in more than one place.
Mhm.
Okay, so then maybe that feels like where we should focus our work then.
Mhm.
Okay. So when you think about that idea of I'm unworthy, what memory immediately comes to mind?
Like there's so many of them that are all kind of flashing at the same time.
So why don't we start there? So I'm gonna turn buzzers on and off. You let me worry about that.
Okay.
Your job is to follow your brain wherever it takes us. We're going on the Hobbit's adventure of Christine's brain, right? So it doesn't have to make sense. Don't have to logically connect together. Cool thing is you don't even have to explain it to me. So if we land on a memory that's really tough for you or you don't want to share it with me, that's okay. You can just tell me I'm thinking about something, I just don't want to say it out loud. Or I don't want to say it. And that's
Okay.
that works just fine. Okay.
Mhm.
And you get to take a break at any point. You can stop at any point. So if it gets to be too much, you let me know and we'll back off.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to think about that idea of I am unworthy. And then just take a moment and notice anything that comes up, any memories that pop into your head, any body sensations you tend to notice. Just tune into your system and let's just see what's there. There's no wrong answers. You can't do it wrong. You can't mess it up.
Okay.
Okay. So just take a moment. Seem like something's coming up for you.
Mhm.
What do you notice?
My stomach churning. I'm feeling angry,
Okay.
really.
And then anger's living here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Does it feel okay and safe to notice that anger?
yeah,
You can say no.
yeah. I think it's yes
Okay.
and to no. They're both true. I think it's what's coming over is like, I'm like, it's an unjustified anger.
That's enough to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna ask your logical prefrontal cortex if it's okay for it to take a break. Would that be okay?
Yeah,
For us to not try to make sense of it just yet?
yeah.
Your job is to feel it. My job is to help it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we notice as much of that anger as is safe to notice. So if that means we only look at part of it, that's okay. Sometimes it helps too if things are intense for you. As you're remembering things, we could take a step back. So we can almost imagine like we're sitting in a movie theater, you and I, and we're watching them play on the screen. So you're not in the middle of it, we're just watching it. So if it gets to be a lot, we can make sure that we're imagining it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay to notice that anger?
Mm-hmm.
All right, just go with it. See where your mind takes you. There's no wrong answers. There's no dumb answers.
Yeah.
Just going with it.
Just telling you a little bit more about it.
Just take a moment,
Okay.
tune into it, see where it takes you in terms of your mind and your memories. Remember, I'm here with you. You're safe. You're okay.
It's just the feeling of like, I'm just feeling different. Like I'm just like hearing the student who said like, that's the stupid table. And I was in these honors classes, right? So really a place that should be like, you are smart, you know what you're doing. And did I struggle and did I have to work hard? Yes. And just like seeing little me kind of feel defeated, like,
Sure.
I worked just as hard as you here.
Just keep following it, and you can keep your eyes open. If you need that degree of separation from it, that helps. If it feels like you're having a hard time concentrating, some people find closing their eyes to be helpful. Okay, we'll just keep following it. So just follow your memories in your mind.
The French class in college,
Mhm.
lots of the same people that were in my high school classes that I was in this stupid table thing, were in this French class. And I just remember looking at my degree evaluation, I didn't need this French class. And like, as I look back at myself now, I'm like, wow, what was the purpose of taking that? Like, why did you sign up for that? What were you trying to prove to everybody? Because it wasn't something I enjoyed. But I felt like I had to do this in order to prove to other people that I could do it.
So in that memory, you're kind of judging yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We keep following that train of thought.
Mhm.
Wherever we go is okay. What do you-
So I'm at my first meeting, I think, where somebody had said, what do you think is a good recommendation for this kid?
Mhm.
And I remember thinking like, I have no clue. Like I have,
Yeah,
how am I supposed to know what to do with somebody else's life? That's not something I have expertise in, and just knowing like it's okay to not have the answers.
mhm. Did you know that back then?
No, I think I was scared that I needed to have the answers because I was allegedly the smartest at the table.
Gotcha. So, like, the version of you now is like, okay, it's okay to not be the expert, but it seems like then it's like, oh crap, what do I do?
Mhm. And I can't let them know I don't know anything, but I don't know
Mhm.
anything.
What do you think would happen if they knew you didn't know what you were doing? What does your gut tell you, even if it's not logical?
My gut is that they tell me I didn't matter,
Mm.
that I needed to leave the table.
Is it okay to sit with that? Your mind goes where it goes.
Yeah.
Just follow that. And notice what comes up. Doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, so I'm back in elementary school,
Mhm.
and there's this really, really popular girl. I really wanted to be her friend,
Mhm.
but we were never in the same classes. She was always in the other one. And finally, we were in third grade together. We got to be in the same class. And I blew my nose in class, and it was like not pretty. It was
Mhm.
like
Like a
loud,
big honking
disgusting. Yeah,
nose blow. Got
yeah,
it.
like a bathroom blow.
Yeah.
And she laughed at me and turned to the other people in the class. And it felt like at that point I was like, oh, I'm different. And I shouldn't have done that. And how did I not know that it's not a rule in the world?
Elementary school version of you was like, oh man, I messed up. And now everyone knows I'm different.
Mhm.
We keep following that. Is that okay?
Mhm.
What's coming up right now?
Like two competing memories.
Okay.
Like
Do you need a little longer with them?
maybe.
No, just notice them a little bit longer. You don't have to pick one. Just notice all the details that are there. What's coming up for you?
One is like somebody who complimented me. I remember thinking like, you're saying this, but you have no clue. I don't know what I'm doing. And then another place where I felt like I was on the bottom of the totem pole.
Mhm.
I remember thinking, can you just let me show you that I am worth sitting here?
Mhm.
Like those two competing, like not feeling good enough and at the same time feeling, but I am, and I deserve a spot here too.
Is that something that feels true or something you wanted to be true? Anything back then,
Back then,
not your version of you now, but the version of you back then.
it does feel true.
Mhm.
That I deserve a seat at the table.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like someone compliments you and you're like, oh, if you only knew.
That one's not as true.
Okay.
Because I think what I think is like at times it's okay to have some differences sitting there
Mhm.
and to have a different perspective.
As you think of those conflicting thoughts, what do you notice coming up in your body?
Tenseness,
Where does that live?
in my chest and my arms, definitely in my pelvis.
So like you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like imagining like posture moment.
Yeah.
Can we notice that tension in your body and see where your mind takes us?
Mhm. So I'm sitting, I got home from the third grade.
That's okay.
And we had to do our multiplication in a minute.
Mhm.
I didn't pass the first couple of times. And so my parents had found out and they made me sit at this little desk, that's a little hard desk. Made me practice multiplication problems until I could get them, but I was so confused as to why it was such a big deal. And also very disappointed in myself that I couldn't figure it out.
So how does third grade you feel about herself in that moment?
Confused, stupid, disappointing.
And just go with it. What do you notice?
So I'd rather not talk about.
Is it okay to keep following it? Remember, you can take a break anytime you need to. It's okay and safe, just go with it. Breathe.
first time I made a decision for me.
Mm.
So I had the choice, I always told everyone I was going to law school.
Mhm.
And I think I had this realization in college that I didn't want to go anymore.
Mhm.
It didn't sound fun anymore. I wanted to be involved in some way, but not that way.
Mhm.
And so I took a break from going to any schools and then decided to apply for grad schools in social work.
Mhm.
And just getting that letter and thinking, I just did this because I liked a reality show. And that's what the lady did. And that like now this was the thing that was gonna be for me. So I wasn't disappointing anybody. It was my own choice.
Mhm. Go with it. Thank
So
you. Okay. So, let's take a deep breath. Let's go back to third or fourth grade, you sitting with stupid people.
mhm.
Okay. So thinking about that memory now. Scale of 1 to 10. 1 is like, no big deal. Like maybe it was sad, but thinking about it doesn't bring you any kind of disturbance or worry. 10 is like, I can barely think about it. It's so bad. Where would you rate it?
A 6, because I see what I feel.
Okay.
I feel more in touch with it maybe,
Mhm.
as if I am really sitting there and remembering, like kind of thinking like,
Mm.
is this true about me?
You got that logical part of you out of the way, and now you're really feeling it.
Yeah.
And that came with this thought of like, I'm worthless. There's something wrong with me. How true is that? 1 to 7. 1 is totally untrue. 7 is totally true all the time, no exceptions.
In that moment,
No. So think about it now.
it's not true.
So what would you rate it?
A 3.
Okay. Let's go all the way back to this idea of you being at a meeting and not feeling like you can use your voice. From 1 to 10. How disturbing is that idea for you now?
6 or a 7.
So we unlocked some stuff for you,
Mhm.
but that belief changed a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay. So that might be a nice place to bookmark our work for today. That was awesome. You did a great job. Yeah, you dug into some tough stuff, and that takes courage to do. So let's wiggle a little bit. Nice deep breath. Get that tension out of your body. Let's take a minute. All those thoughts and memories and feelings we worked with today, all the things that make it a 6, let's imagine putting those in your mason jar. Basically imagine like wrapping them up in some sort of like, maybe it needs to go in like a baggie that you shove into the mason jar and you see yourself like airtight, close it, and you test it to make sure that the button's not gonna go because there's no air in it at all. Just take a minute. Imagine wrapping up all those disturbing thoughts and feelings we worked with today. Imagine what it would look like to put them in that mason jar, close it up tight, test it to make sure that they're gonna stay there. If you have to do it more than once, that's okay. And the last thing we're gonna do, you're gonna notice that the buzzer slow down a bit. We're gonna go visit your bed.
Okay.
So take a minute, imagine being all snuggled up in your bed. And take a minute for all 5 senses. So if you're laying in your bed, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Maybe you don't taste anything, that's okay. Your body feel nice and toasty.
Relaxed.
Okay, let's do one nice deep breath. The last thing is we're just gonna give all parts of you, logical parts, feeling parts, permission to go back where they need to go, so you can handle the rest of your day.
Okay.
So we need to put logic back in charge and feelings need to take a seat. That's all right. So just take a minute and let all parts of you get back where they need to be so you can handle the rest of your day.
Okay,
Everybody back where they need to be?
yeah,
Teams in place?
yeah,
I imagine it like inside out and like the control panel and like, okay, who needs to be in charge of things so we can function?
yeah, my logic has a tie. It's
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, and it has.
Ah,
Really nice work.
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was fun.